while leads, but Carr is strong. He catches back up to him after having to fend off the 23. He's got a great run. He's going to look underneath. The 71 does not defend. They're going to go wheel to wheel into 3 and 4. Who is going to be able to get to the line first here? Down to the inside. He's going to get pinched. They're going to come together. They're going to come together. Is Tim Downey Jr. going to get this? He runs into him. Who is going to get to the finish first? It's Massey.
That is Deterk trying to go defensive. Wanmi says, all right, that's fine. I'm going to go to the outside. You see him taking the widest line into that corner possible, just keeping momentum up around the outside, not taking no for an answer, and by sheer force of will alone, that is Wanmi Costa up into the final podium position.
Off of turn 4, Valenteus looking for the launch. He gets it right up to the wall. He's got a good lot of speed. Is this enough speed, though? As they come to the line and getting ready to cross, he goes around the outside, but it's not enough. And it's going to be Togo Hisada taking the win. Vincent has got the bit between his teeth right now. He said enough of this back and forth and allowing him through. I want the spot back, and he's going to get to the inside. Down into Sayat. Can he complete the pass? Keeping up the momentum. Caven Norris is going to remain wheel-to-wheel down into Vert, but it's not really a too wide turn. They're going to make it one this time, and Norris gets it back around the outside. So this is the 48 car here off of turn 4. Watch this. Really has to catch it. Just trying. I bet he didn't lift that whole way. I think his foot was on the throttle the whole time.
Probably just a little bit too far back, trying to make that run up on Evan. Evan goes to cover the grass.
Espes blocked to the grass, side by side, 2 by 2 for the race win. Now nearly 3 wide. Hyde's taking a peek.
We've got a double here. They're going 2 wide and 2 wide. Oh, falling in. Oh no, we got contact. Cam Evan goes around. Oh, that's got to be rough. As
it's
we
not
have
over
the
yet.
local favorite going in, and Espes going for the lead, but Williams trying to get in there too. Where are we going to set up here? Coming into the final corner.
Williams trying to get the run on the left side, on the right side. Espes on the left side. A drag race. Williams takes the victory at Mount Panorama Circuit. Brandon Hawk in 3rd, Espes in 2nd.
Hey guys, welcome to ASR. I'm Nick, this is Marc-Andre.
Hey everybody, so we're just here to announce that in this current season of PRL, we'll be giving away 2 ASR 3s to 2 lucky winners. So stay competitive, keep racing fair, and may the best man win.
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced SimRacing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much going to be a turnkey. So he's going to press start on his computer, and right after we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware. And that's why we want to create something that's really gonna reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
Both the MX-5 Cup and the GT3 Pro Championships are wide open. Multiple drivers are able to take the title tonight in each of them. With so many variables flying around, the only certainty is running your own race. But who has the pace to be able to snag the win and possibly maximum points? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch Round 10 of the PRL GT Pro Series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is DJ Clark. Behind the scenes is our director, Zach Johnson, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. First up for the MX-5s is Road Atlanta. It witnessed an incredible finale in the real-world MX-5 series, so let's head to our track guide to see why it tends to produce such amazing finishes. Welcome to Road Atlanta, the scene of incredible sports car racing for decades and the home to the Petit Le Mans. This is a track that has proven itself to be worthy of attention on a world stage. With it being situated only an hour northeast of Atlanta, Georgia, the circuit is in a prime location. But despite its flagship race, in contrast to the real Le Mans, the full course is a measly 2.5 miles long. The club layouts also clock in at just under 2 miles. Packed within this small lap length is a series of technical and challenging corners, some of which can be race-ending even when small mistakes are made. Turn 1 is a fast sweeper which compresses the car into the track, but the high speeds mean that when you go off, you typically go off in a big way. Turn 3 is notorious for its curved entry into a blind apex. Too far inside and you face a cut course penalty. Too far outside and you're likely to spin out. Then there's the unassuming Turn 5. The wide curving lures you into getting greedy, but the close walls on either side gobble up cars and spit them out as a crumpled heap. With all the tricky fast turns, that's not to say that there aren't passing opportunities. The main one comes at the chicane at the bottom of the backstretch. The huge downhill drop into the turn makes outbraking yourself quite easy though, so be careful. The whole thing wraps up with the frightening final corner. With nothing but a giant wall right to the outside as cars fly through at high speed, it's not often that wrecks are small. Boasting a wide swath of series over its history, everything from NASCAR to Indy Lights and of course IMSA, the main use of the track is SCCA events and driving schools. No wonder this place is popular both in real life and here on the iRacing service. Fans will no doubt get to enjoy many more years of action at this incredible track. Well, DJ, I've covered plenty of MX-5 races here, and so I kind of know what to expect on that, but I can't recall the last time I've called an MX-5 race for a championship decider here. This is going to be a doozy.
It is indeed, Joe. And what is going to make it so exciting is the fact that with the reduced aerodynamics that these MX-5s have, they're going to be able to follow a lot closer behind during the normal sections of the track that we tend to see cars space out. And that's really that first sector, that quick flick up turn 1, up that always difficult blind turns 2, 3 complex, and then down the hill through the S's. You're still going to see, I think, the main overtaking opportunity going to be off of the backstretch going down into turn 10, but I think you're also going to see some increased passing chances potentially down into turn 1 and maybe a few gutsy moves going down into turn 6. But one way or another, that's still the most crucial corner. That is going to be that turn 7, the jump onto the backstretch. You've got to keep your momentum up, keep your speed up to maximize the draft and maximize the speed that you can get over your rivals.
And it'll give us plenty of action, no doubt, today down in that last chicane. But before we get to that action, we want to remind you that our broadcast is brought to you by ASR. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com.
It's also sponsored by RaceLab. RaceLab helps you to improve your driving skills. With modern overlays, race statistics, and native VR integration, you can get the best out of iRacing. Start using it for free at racelab.app.
Today's broadcast is also proudly sponsored by ButtKicker. ButtKicker products add an incredible immersion and realism to any game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Check them out at thebuttkicker.com.
Today's event is also brought to you by SimMSA. Simulation Motorsports Affinity provides many consulting services, from completely customizing simulators to managing teams, individual drivers, and complete events. They're working hard to bring everyone together at one place to support and promote sim racing internationally. Find out how you can bridge the gap between virtual and real motorsports at SIMMSA.net.
And finally, the PRL GT Series is brought to you by NinjaTrader. Ready to compete against the financial markets? Supporting over 60,000 users across the globe, NinjaTrader provides award-winning trading software and brokerage services. NinjaTrader is always free to use for advanced charting, backtesting, and trade simulation. Visit ninjatrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance. I mentioned that there are a lot of drivers that are eligible for the championship tonight, and as we take a look at the points, you can see here 4 of the 5 can make it to the top. Bouchard, Holly, Newhook, and Bouchard. Now, Jacques is perhaps the most distant likelihood of those 4, but you look at Newhook and Holly, and they could easily overtake Bouchard. Really, Michael Bouchard's best hope is to simply win today, and that would deny anybody else being able to overtake him in points. Johnny Luna mathematically out of it, but could always potentially jump himself up a couple spots in the end. What about in the team's championship?
Well, Joe, in that team's championship, unlike the drivers, it is already done and dusted. Miata Mafia will be crowned champions out there today, with Oh God Right Turns locking down that second place. The Jaeger Bombs, they pretty much have a solid lock on third place. There is a very, very outside chance that with some bonus points and some little trickery, Fossil Racing could overtake them, but it's highly unlikely. And RF Delta Sport, they are secured into 5th.
Now, for this race, it's just like all the others we had this season. It's 35 minutes, and they do have a fuel stop that they'll have to do at some point during that race. It's open setups, though, so whatever you can do on these Miatas, try to find some speed. I'm sure the drivers have been tweaking away at that. And they've got some penalties. A drive-through will be at 13 incidents. Remember, there's a lot of back and forth around this track. It could be easy to pick those up. And if they get all the way up to 17, they're actually disqualified on the spot. Now, for the bonus points, again, that will probably play in. Only one driver can get the pole position. That is the only one that is, only one driver can get it fastest lap and pole position, So those two can only be taken by a single driver. However, the 3 incidents or less, we have to wait until the end and see who has what on that, just in case it makes a difference on the finishing order. With everything so tight, we have to watch out for that before we can really declare a champion. As for the qualifying, it's about to take off here in just a moment. They'll get 10 minutes and 4 laps to try to set their fastest time. And it's going to be solo, which I have a feeling a number of these drivers probably happy about, DJ, because as you mentioned, that backstretch in the draft, it offers a lot of time.
Yeah, it really does, Joe. And I think these drivers are going to be very, very thankful that they don't have to be messing with anybody else, that it's going to be pretty straightforward. And the only thing they really need to worry about when push comes to shove is just getting out ahead of your opponents. It's not going to be a situation where you have to sit there and go, all right, I got to time this draft right. It's just you and the track.
Indeed. And they're already taking their way out there as we see Cowgill among the first to try and go set a time. So we'll see if that 31 car is able to come across the line with a clean one first amongst them. They should be able to get all 4 in. Lap time's not too drastically long here at Road Atlanta, even in these MX-5s. The other thing that I wonder about with that draft, though, is who's going to start playing games with fuel early on? Could they potentially jump the group that they're in by just kind of riding behind along that backstretch?
They very well could, Joe, and that's a big thing that will play into it. Obviously, the fuel strategy here, because these cars are fuel limited, will come into play, but we'll have to see what they can do when everything gets up and going.
Exactly. And right now, Cowgill along that backstretch has got a very cool track here in the morning in Georgia. It's only 9 a.m. virtual standard time. So it's about 65 degrees Fahrenheit on the track surface, 18 Celsius for the metric, folks. And as we watch them weave through there and up and over the hill, here's the first flyer for Patrick Cowgill. And this is such a marginal lap in this car. So many places where they're right on the edge of control and grip. It's already tough in high-powered machinery, but in this thing, it's got to be a wild ride.
Oh, it is very, very tricky, Joe. And as I said, the lack of downforce on these MX-5s, well, it's great when you're trying to trail behind somebody else, but it can be a real problem when you're trying to flick your way through these corners on a solo lap and you don't have any downforce to push you down into the ground. And it is all about that mechanical grip.
So up through the S's and the, of course, tricky turn 5. We've seen so many cars get caught out by that. Ooh, he gets very loose. He'll catch it, but that can't have been the quick way through that corner. Hopefully he didn't get an off track as well with how far he swung wide.
He's going to have to be careful on it. I doubt he'll get a full-on off track for it, but he still could come back and have it bite him if he's not careful. Patrick has got to be careful of that. A couple of areas that it is very easy to pick up those off tracks. We see a lot of it when drivers cut a little bit over turn 3. That is one area, as well as running wide there out of turn 12. We've also seen it pretty easy to run wide on the exit of turn 7.
Absolutely. And that will not only take away your lap, but it hurts your lap time anyways, just coming down that backstretch, getting off into the grass, really chucking it in to the chicane. The 31 is not messing around today. He wants the quickest lap he can snag. So is this one going to count? Was he clean? And how fast is it going to be? It will count. It's a 37.0. And those behind now ready to try and match him. Looks like Bouchard is a little bit off, but Newhook goes faster, and Holly now takes the provisional pole.
All right, Bradley Holly starting to put in what he needs to do to get this championship. If he is able to hold on to that pole, that will be a bonus point for the 184 driver, and that will be able to propel him up to only 3 points back of your current championship leader, Michael Bouchard.
Johnny Luna, who sits in 5th in the points, comes across. He has a 36.5, and that's good enough for pole position. Is he going to deny any of the championship hopefuls that bonus point for pole?
Well, he might. I mean, Johnny Luna's got nothing to lose out here, so he is just going to be going for broke. And if he denies that points, it's certainly going to change up a little bit of that championship equation that we're going to be talking about this entire race. But Bradley Holly here trying to do better on that second lap. I wouldn't be surprised if we see times start to tumble a little bit here in the second half of qualifying. as, because you mentioned, Joe, so chilly out on track, only 66 degrees. The more laps these guys run, the more those tires are going to heat up.
Well, Foster and St. Aubin messed up their first laps. In fact, I saw Matthew have a spin, so he unfortunately discounted that first one through, and he's now finally on a flyer. But here comes Holly. He has managed to go faster than Cowgill, who just takes his second lap. 36.2 for Cowgill, provisional pole, and it's 36.222. He is barely ahead, Michael Bouchard, and Holly, 36.208. There is less than a tenth of a second between our top three.
Oh my goodness gracious, Joe, we are setting ourselves up for a fantastic championship showdown here. None of these drivers willing to back off. The only real problems that I'm seeing right now is we've got Newhook all the way down in 6th. That is not what he wants to see for his championship hopes.
And Johnny Luna now takes it and puts in a way better lap than those around him. A 36 flat for him. So he's a full tenth of a second ahead. Giselle improves, but does not gain position. He stays in 10th. Pete Thomas is going to be next. We've still got about 6 cars that have yet to set a time. Thomas is on his second lap. There you see him in the green machine right now. Unfortunately, has that one taken away as well. Hopefully, St. Aubin is clean this time as he brings it around, and the Movember car is good enough for a 38.9. That's only 10th for him.
Yeah, I think Matthew's going to be wanting to do a little bit better there as we check back in on some of that leading 4 drivers. As we said, this is Cowgill working his way down out of that turn 10 chicane. Here he comes. Oh, God, right turns his team on board. As we said, already locked into their championship position of number 2. Let's see if Cowgill can do any better. He does. That's a 35.8.
First driver to hit the 35s, 36 flat for Michaud, so he does get back into second, but Holly hits a 35.9. He is about 700 shy of being able to overtake Patrick Cowgill for the pole. Gallinotto finally puts one on the board at a 39.9. So now we wait to see, oh no, Johnny Luna. What happened to Johnny Luna? Did he have a wreck on that last lap?
I think he may have. I'm showing Luna right now, not putting in a time there. I can also tell you that Patrick Cowgill had a wreck when he was coming up through turns 2 and 3 on this current lap. So that means that he's going to have to start from pit lane and try this again. And I don't think that means he's got enough time to put in a final lap.
No, it won't count since he had already started that final lap. If he comes around, it will basically be discounted anyway. So that is it for Patrick Cowgill, with less than a tenth separating himself and Bradley Holly for that pole position. And then from Holly to Newhook, it's another 700ths down there in third. Peter finally finding some time that last time through. But who is going to be able to clinch here on this 4th and final flyer? A few drivers still just getting their 3rd one in, including the likes of Malcolm Foster. We're watching Holly down into the chicane. Foster doesn't improve. Watching Bouchard to see if he finally gets one on the board as we follow with the 184. Bouchard, it does have a 36.9. That's good enough for 8th. Michaud is going to abandon his final lap. He's done. Newhook crosses. Newhook with a 35.7. That is provisional pole. Holly doesn't improve. Newhook has the pole, and as it sits right now, it doesn't look like anybody is likely to topple him.
No, I don't think so. So that is going to be a huge change there, as we said, for that championship bonus point going to Peter Newhook, and that will pull him within 5 points of your leader, Michael Michaud. So that changes the math entirely here.
Bledon does not go quicker on his last time by. Giselle coming around. We're watching Jason Larson, the only driver yet to put a time down in this session. And the 358 ahead of him crosses on his 4th, 39.1. That's the quickest for Giselle, but he doesn't go any higher on the tower. So Jason Larson passed the line. Only his 2nd timed lap, and his last timed lap finally puts one on the board. Good enough for 15th. Is that it? Pete Thomas just crossed behind him. He goes a little bit quicker, up to 12th place. St. Aubin, he gets up to 7th with that one. Much better result for him. I do see Malcolm Foster around for his last lap, and it looks like Bouchard should be the final one. So we got 2 more cars. Foster, 38.3. That's quicker. That's good enough for 13th. Bouchard, he is going to put down a 36.7, 2/10 improvement. That's up to 7th. He's going to knock St. Aubin down. That ends our qualifying, the last qualifying of the 2021 seasons here for our MX5 Cup Series. And it is going to be Peter Newhook who starts on the pole, getting the bonus point. It is Patrick Cowgill who starts next to him. Bradley Hawley will start from 3rd with Michael Michaud in P4. So there's your 4 drivers, there's 3 of your 4 drivers eligible starting in the top 4. Luna will start from 5th as Ian Cabana starts in 6th. Bouchard all the way down in 7th. He was already a long shot. It's looking even less likely with that sort of qualifying pace. St. Aubin will start from 8th, Bergquist 9th, and Vincent in 10th.
Starting off in 11th, it's going to be Robert Gallinotto, followed by Pete Thomas to his outside, with Malcolm Foster and Pete Bledon in 14th. Jason Larson lines up 15th, and it's Mark Cassell, tail end Charlie here for the finale of the MX5 Series.
16 cars out there. They're already just about gridded up, so we're going to get started pretty soon here. 35 minutes for the season finale in the MX5 Cup Series for PRL. Peter Newhook now has only 5 points to go to get to Michaud. Looks like we're done gridding up. The lights are up. And the green flag is out off the line. Not a great one from Newhook. Cowgill is looking very strong, and so is Hawley. Is he thinking 3 wide maybe here at the start? Yes, he is. He's going to send it in the middle. Can he get through to the point? He's got the best speed of any of them, and yes, he does, but he starts to slide out, and Hawley is off the course. He catches it. He gets it rolling, but he falls way down the order.
Indeed, he does. That is Bradley Hawley all the way down the order into 11th, so he has got all of his work cut out for him yet to do. Oh, my goodness, that is the last thing that Bradley Hawley needed here in this championship decider.
As Martin Brundle would say, ambition over adhesion, unfortunately, for Bradley Hawley there at the start. And he is going to recover to 11th after that off track. So it's not impossible, but he is now really behind the 8 ball as we follow the leaders up to turn 6 and 7. Newhook is ahead of Cowgill, ahead of Michaud.
Indeed, all staying single file there through 6 and 7, trying to maximize that exit. As we said, that is the most crucial corner there on the track. It looks like they're starting to spread out a little bit. Draft will come into full effectiveness right at about that DRS sign. That's really when you'll see these drivers start to pull up on one another.
Well, Newhook's got a decent gap. It's about 0.7 of a second here. Cowgill, unfortunately, sees Michaud poking his nose to the inside, looking for 2nd place. Michaud trying to go deep on it, is going to have the inside, but is not a nose ahead. Will we see the battle carry on into turn 1? Yes, we will, because look at that momentum from the 497 coming around the outside, down and across the start-finish line, but now it starts to swing back in favor of Cowgill, and here comes Bouchard. Where did he come from?
Bouchard just had a good run there coming through those final couple corners. Now he's going to toke his nose to the inside there up Michael Michaud, trying to see if he can maybe force that 497 a little bit wide. Johnny Luna just sitting back. They now start the braking down into turns 2 and 3, and Bouchard gets it done.
Wow. In a little more than a lap, he's gone from 7th up to 3rd, but he's got a ways to go to get to the leader from here, and he essentially will need to win with a bit of a problem occurring for Michaud if he has any hopes of taking the championship. In fact, I think if Michaud gets to halfway, I think that may eliminate Bouchard. I'll have to do the math on that to double check. But in the background, I see a little bit of a battle between Hawley and Cabana. Looks like he's going to get that one done. So Hawley up into 8th from 11th, and he's making quick work through the field.
Yes, he is, and that's exactly what he needs to do, but that little battle has separated him off of the back of Kevin Bergquist there in the 64. He's got a gap of about 0.9 of a second that continues to grow because Bergquist is able to tuck into the back of Matthew St. Aubin. We watch here as Bradley Hawley, those very familiar, focused eyes looking ahead on track.
Getting onto the binders now down into the chicane, and I can confirm once Bouchard reaches halfway through this race, that will eliminate Bouchard from his opportunity to take the championship from him, because they do not get points officially until they reach that halfway mark in the race. Once they do, there's so few cars that Bouchard will not be able to lose enough points that Bouchard could beat him. So watch out for that 17-minute mark left to go for our drivers as we watch Patrick Cowgill here down through the S's, about a second and a half back from Newhook. It does look like the 87 has got enough pace that he's at least keeping Patrick Cowgill and Jacques Bouchard and Michael Bouchard honest, and he's doing everything he can to take max points.
Indeed he is, and that's exactly what he needs to do here at this stage. Just keep up that pressure if he can. Drivers working their way now out of turn 7. Bradley Hawley already got the move done on Kevin Berquist. He just looks so much faster coming through the corners. Now he's going to get that benefit of the draft of Matthew St. Aubin, tucked up behind, only about a tenth of a second back. There's the poke to the inside for Hawley. This move, if he's able to pull it off into the braking zone, should net him 6th place.
I'm impressed with what he's been able to do, because he's still only 4 seconds behind the overall leader. And there you can see St. Aubin just switching back into the racing line. Let's check in on board with Matthew, as he's one of our webcams giving us a feed here today. As he watches one of our championship hopefuls already start to pull away from him out onto the front stretch.
Yeah, indeed. Bradley Hawley just driving like a man on a mission. Jacques Bouchard getting the fastest lap of the race. That's going to be crucial. Bonus points there are available for that. There you can see doing just a little bit of that iRacers lean, Joe, as St. Aubin works his way through turn 1.
Has to defend a little bit from Berquist behind him as he took a poke, but was not able to get through. So they come down through the S's once again. As it sits right now, Newhook actually would be the champion, as he would overtake Bouchard and Hawley in points here. So if Bouchard stays in 4th and Newhook finishes in 1st, even if he doesn't get the fastest lap, and no matter how clean his race is, he would be champion.
He would indeed, but I have a sneaking suspicion in the back of my brain that Bradley Hawley is not going to stay put back in 6th for too long. As we watch this long snake of cars, Cowgill's got a good run here on Newhook. Speed about a mile an hour faster. He's going to poke his nose to the inside, going down into turn 10. That sweeping right-hander. Oh, contact! Newhook gets the worst of it.
He tries to woe it up. Can he? He does keep it on course amazingly. I thought he was going to have to cut the chicane, but now look at all of them swamping side to side as there's a little bit of a brush into the right front fender of Newhook's car. Now a little bit of banging between himself and Cowgill, trying to hold on to it. They are getting rough out there. We still have 28 minutes to go.
Joe, that was almost 4 wide coming down into turn 1. I don't know if I've ever seen that much aggression here out of these MX-5s, but that is Peter Newhook just not letting Cowgill get that position by him here. And this is allowed for Bradley Hawley to move his way. That's more contact. Newhook getting a little bit of a brush from Cowgill. Hawley's back into 2nd.
Not sure what happened there with Newhook. Misshifts shouldn't be an issue anymore in this car, unless he just got it stuck in neutral somehow. But as they come up the hill, he falls back to 5th. Bouchard is your new leader from 7th on the grid, and Hawley is into 2nd. This is amazing switch arounds in just 1 lap.
This is just, I'm constantly having to be scribbling on my notepads here, Joe, doing the math, and every time I get everything figured out, they just change back over again. This is absolutely incredible, as now you see your leaders start to pull away a little bit. Bouchard has a 1.2 second advantage over Hawley, but 3 wide down the backstretch there. That's Cowgill, Luna, and Newhook.
Here they go again. 2 of our championship hopefuls. Looks like they're going to get back single file as St. Aubin slots in behind them. Luna just kind of poking, and Newhook is going to hold him behind, but he breaks a little bit too deep into the corner. He'll be able to make it through. He has really got to play catch up now because Bouchard and Hawley both well in front of him, and Michaud is about a second and a half up the road as well.
Yeah, indeed. He does not want to let that gap play out, as this is Patrick Cowgill coming down pit lane. This is a very, very early stop for Cowgill. I'm not entirely sure what he's doing here.
I wonder, because remember, it is only 13 incidents for a drive-through penalty. No, he's coming down to his box, so it's not a drive-through. Thought maybe with all the beating and banging that they were doing, that maybe he had just been a little too rough out there too quickly. As, whoa, look at the slide from Bradley Hawley as he chases Bouchard up through turn 5, just putting up smoke as he tries to wring everything he can out of that MX-5.
Yeah, really, really trying to push for it here. And he has been able to gain down and pull in a gap of over a second, pull it down to about 2/10 here. He gets a good run off of turn 7. Jacques Bouchard pushing that air out of the way for him. Bradley Hawley's just going to tuck up in that draft. And I think the 184 is about to make the move for the lead.
He is indeed. He's going to look to the inside. Top 4 on the track right now are your top 4 in the points, with Hawley trying to take the top spot away. He's got a nose ahead. He's a little deeper on the brakes at first, but coming back at him, Bouchard tries to fight back, doesn't have anything for him. Michaud now starts to gain up. As they crest the hill, he's back into it. Will we see Newhook start to gain enough that he can make it all 4 of them fighting at once?
Well, I think that's really going to depend on where Michael Michaud chooses to make this pass. And he's going to try to make it down into turn 1. That could bunch him and Bouchard up a little bit. Neither of them taking the optimal line there through that corner. And as they continue to battle, this is going to bleed tenths off of that lead they have over Peter Newhook.
It will indeed, and also lose touch to Bradley Hawley, who's already got about 1.3 seconds. Oh, but he's coming upon lap traffic. That's Gallinotto. Great job by the 72 to stay out of the way. In fact, he's going to essentially park it there, literally park it at the side of the track to let the entire field by so that he doesn't play a part in this. And Michaud gets by Bouchard now, coming out of turn 5, so move him into P2. That is not what Bradley Hawley wants here, because, again, Hawley was only 4 points ahead coming in, and the difference between P1 and P2 before bonus points is only 3 points, so that will not do it.
Exactly. Hawley here, if they continue to run it this way, he's going to have to rely on trying to set the fastest lap of the race or staying clean, potentially both, depending on how that math will shake out. But the good news for Bradley is it looks like Jacques Bouchard not exactly going away quietly. He's been able to tuck up behind Michaud. Michaud, who showed a little bit of a defensive line there going down into that turn 10 chicane, able to keep him at bay, kicking up a little bit of dirt there on the entrance to the corner.
I'm curious to see if any of the top 4 have managed to stay under 3 incident points at this point, because I'm not sure that they'll get that clean bonus the way they were racing just a bit ago. Across the line, Bradley Hawley 1.4 seconds ahead now. Newhook down to 7/10. I think he's clearly got the draft, but he's bringing along a friend. Johnny Luna is coming through with him from 5th.
Indeed, he is, Joe. And in regard to those incident points, now we don't have the exact information on incidents, but I can tell you that Bradley Hawley has had an off track twice, and Bouchard has had one off track, as has Peter Newhook. Michael Michaud, however, has 0 off tracks. Now that does not take into account car contact or anything of that nature. However, those are at least 1 incident points for those drivers listed.
So that means they got to be very careful for the remainder of this race if they want to try and get those bonus points to help them for the clean race onto the backstretch. And this time, Bradley Hawley, look at how far ahead that black and blue 184 is compared to the train forming behind Michaud. It's Bouchard, Newhook, and Luna all together from 2nd to 5th.
This is an absolutely brilliant strategy from Bradley Hawley. Just had to put the pedal down and break that draft as much as possible. Jacques Bouchard there looking relatively content to ride behind. Maybe not as content after we saw Peter Newhook almost run into the back of him.
And Luna nearly outbraked himself into everybody there. Just about played bowling with those Miatas. They come across the line. The thing that stuns me is that Bradley Hawley had that mistake. Lap 1, turn 1, fell all the way back to 11th out of 16 cars. Not only got himself back up to the front pack, put himself in the lead, and has put himself at a great distance to the rest of them. This is a man that is on a mission.
Well, exactly. I mean, last night, Joe, we covered the PRL NASCAR Cup Series, and it was a bit of an off night for Bradley. Just got mired down in the middle of the field. Couldn't look like he could climb his way up at all. And I think there may be a little bit of a chip on the shoulder of the driver of the 184. He wants to try to get this win and this championship as desperately as he can.
Yeah, almost want to say that Hawley's become a bit more of a road ringer here because he has 4 wins already here in the MX-5 Cup Series. Compare that to the 0 wins he had in the NASCAR Cup Series. I would not have predicted that at the start of this season. But right now he's looking to set half the wins of the season if he can stay up front like that. The question is, will that be enough to take the championship? And who is going to poke their nose out amongst this group coming down the hill? It looks like it's going to be Newhook at the back of it, and he is going to be able to get 1 past Bouchard. Can he get 2? Very deep on the brakes as well. Here comes Johnny Luna. He wants 1 as well, and yes, it will be 2 for Newhook and 2 for Luna as well. Both of them able to overtake. A miserable start there for Bouchard, and he is going to decide to come into the pits now.
I think that's a pretty good call with the 4 of them fighting like that. He wanted absolutely no part of it, opting to come down pit lane, get new fuel in the car, be good to the end, and avoid any risk of getting involved into an incident.
What a wild exchange through that chicane. And this really might mirror real life with that MX-5 race here at Road Atlanta we saw not too long ago. But the 87 now in second place as Bradley Hawley, because of their squabbling, is 4.4 seconds ahead. I kind of wonder if they need to start working together.
I think they most certainly do, but the problem is that there are drivers here that don't want to give up any track to each other because they're fighting for the championship. I mean, I'm looking specifically at Newhook and Bouchard, obviously, who's down pit lane, but Bouchard as well.
Bouchard just returned to the track. It looks like a normal stop. I'm seeing 19 seconds. So he is ready to go to the end. And importantly for the 497, he is actually in very clear air right now. I don't see anybody close enough that he will be catching them at least for another 3 or 4 laps. So he could try and push here and see if he can do as good a laps as Bradley Hawley as we go side by side once again. Bouchard on the outside, Luna on the inside. Johnny takes 3rd place with that one.
Indeed he does. So Luna's going to play his way up forward, and I really think Johnny Luna may play the spoiler here to all of this title fight dramatics.
Hawley's responding.
Hawley's in pit lane.
Ooh, so the 184 is wise to what's going on and is going to pit in so that he doesn't get jumped in the stops. Question is, will he come out in as clear of air as his rival? Patrick Cowgill just coming through now. Cowgill is pretty much out of this race. He's a lap down in 15th. Cowgill goes by. Bledon is the next one that is going to go through. No, excuse me, Jason Larson, who blinked out for a moment. They're past. Looks like the car of Malcolm Foster is through, and it's relatively clean air for Hawley. Doesn't lose too much time to Bouchard. Let's see what the gap is once they start to cycle back around.
Joe, it's looking pretty big here. I'm reading a gap of a couple of seconds, maybe over 5. Yeah, indeed. This is looking like an almost 7-second advantage for Bradley Hawley.
I wonder if Bouchard maybe lost that more so in the battling that he had through the chicane than anything else. As Malcolm Foster just went off track and had a spin at turn 5.
Yeah, and Bradley Holly very nicely getting over the radio, letting everybody know, doesn't want one of those lapped cars to be end up playing spoiler here for this race. So now this is crucial for Bradley Holly. If he is able to put in some good laps here, come back out in the lead, he needs Michael Bouchard to finish in third or farther down. And with as far back as Bouchard is here, I've got to wonder if that's going to play out. If Bouchard finishes second to Bradley Holly, Bouchard will take the championship. Now, this does not include any of those bonus points that we've already divvied up here.
We're going to have to wait until we are done fully with the race to get that information. We'll try to bring that to you as best we can. And the other thing that I'm watching, Newhook's last lap, a 37.1. He continues to lead. I think they have settled down. I think they kind of realized what's going on with the pit stops, and there's a lot less fighting there. Holly's lap we won't get this time, but we should get Bouchard's. It is a 37.2. That is a 10th slower than Newhook's. So doesn't look like Michael Bouchard is outpacing that group currently.
No, it does not, and I wonder if some of that has to do something with a little bit of the draft coming into play. We've heard drivers a couple of times refer to just how strong it is around here, and you've almost got to treat it like you're running a super speedway race, that you actually don't want to lose touch with anybody because you need that draft to pick up some speed for you. As we're learning there, Johnny Luna is going to poke his nose to the inside of Newhook. I'm not sure if that's a full commitment on the move. It's a little bit earlier on the binders. I think that was Luna just trying to test out the waters.
Seeing what's possible, maybe trying to ensure he doesn't run into the back of him. None of the three pit in this time. St. Aubin stays out, but Ian Cabana will come down the lane. So that's the 774 affecting his stop. We've got about maybe 5 more minutes before all the drivers should have to come in. Vincent stays out, Pete Thomas comes in.
Yeah, so drivers starting to come down pit lane here, starting to figure out what this is. Only 15 minutes to go left in this race. This is where things start to get a little interesting for us, Joe.
That time by Newhook, a 36.6. Way faster for the 87 car. What about Bradley Holly? 36.2. Bradley Holly is pulling away from them. Bouchard's just going to cross the line now. It is a 37.7. It is starting to slip through the fingers. I don't think that Michael will even come back around in second place after the pit stops, the pace that those top three are doing right now.
I don't think he will either, Joe. He just looks like he has continued to put down those fast flyers, at least up front. And in terms of Bradley Holly in particular, remember, he was setting down fast laps and pulling away from this crew when he was running in clean air at the beginning. So definitely some speed in that 184.
And Holly was our fastest in practice as well. He started from third. Maybe he just didn't quite find the right lap in qualifying, and that's why he wasn't on the pole. But he certainly looks to be the fastest when everybody gets away from one another. As our top three over the hill, still nobody in. No, I take that back. Looks like Newhook is in, and Bouchard is in. Only Luna stays out.
All right, so Johnny Luna, odd man standing here, and this is going to be very, very crucial. As we said, we anticipate Bradley Holly being able to get by these guys very easily. The real question is going to be where Bouchard comes out.
All trying to spot their pit in, hit their marks. Anybody going to overshoot here? Looks like the answer is no. They're all going to find it cleanly. So Holly's just coming across the start-finish line right now. Newhook still taking his service, and Holly is easily passed as we expected. But Bouchard jumps Newhook by a huge margin. Jacques only had a 16-second stop versus 23 for Newhook. Bouchard goes by, and once again, the script is flipped here in this championship finale.
My goodness gracious, it is Joe. So we're going to recap this. What this essentially comes down to is, as they run right now, Bradley Holly is the effective leader as Luna and St. Aubin have not pitted yet. Jacques Bouchard runs effectively second, and Michael Bouchard runs effectively third. And so that is good for Bradley Holly's title aspirations right now. Newhook looks effectively to be out of it, and because we are over halfway, Jacques Bouchard has officially been eliminated from the championship.
That's a good point, which is probably much to the consternation of Michaud, because now it's Bouchard he has to overtake, but it's a 4-second difference on track between them. Oh, and we had a wreck from Matthew St. Aubin coming out of the chicane. He's lost control of the car, pushing it a little bit too hard. Big damage on the nose.
Oh, it's some very rough damage. It looks like, Joe, he just got a little bit wide, caught some grass, and went face first into the bridge. A very, very tough place to lose it. You can see the disappointment slamming on the wheel. There is Matthew St. Aubin.
It's going to need a comb for that mustache, I think, to get it back in order. Yeah, the emotion becoming clear amongst our drivers. It wasn't in the championship hunt, but I'm sure he would have loved to have finished this one on a good note. So that is everybody having pit at this stage, and Holly retakes the lead. It is 6 seconds back to P2, Jacques Bouchard, and it's 3.5 now back to Michael Bouchard. He is gaining on the number 5 car with 11 minutes left. Luna sits in 4th, and then our other championship hopeful, Peter Newhook, is down in 5th, and he is actually trying to fight with Johnny Luna here as he just comes out of the pits in front of him now.
Yeah, indeed, and that may play a little bit of help to Peter Newhook to be able to get himself up forward and maybe get up to challenge Michael Bouchard, but that's about a 13-second gap between himself and where he needs to be in P1 and Bradley Holly, so I don't think that's going to play out exactly the way that Peter Newhook would have liked it to.
Indeed, and as those three come around onto the backstretch, Luna gives a big slipstream to Newhook. Cabana, great job getting up into this as well for that 774 car. He is going to get a double toe behind the pair of them before they get to the braking zone.
Indeed, there he is able to get by Johnny Luna, so feeling good about that. Cabana there just loitering behind in the frame, and they're going to all go through nice and cleanly.
Up and over the hill. Let's see what the lap times look like between Bouchard and Michaud this time. 37.3 for Jacques. Michael with a 37.1. Another 0.2 quicker for the 4.97. Is that going to be enough, though? They've probably got about, what, 7 laps left here?
Yeah, I think that's about right. It may be a little too late for Michaud, but he is going to put everything he has into the car, rest assured. He was a whole half second faster there in that first sector, so that is a good sign there for that 497 machine.
It's just going to have to keep pushing, though. And plus, he's going to have Peter Newhook trying to chase him down. It's only about 2 seconds back to there. I think we may have a replay of the incident since we didn't get to see it of St. Aubin. Here it is right here. It was already pretty loose mid-chicane. Coming out of it, he clips the grass, and, well, I bet he wishes those tires went a little bit farther over.
Yeah, just a very, very hard clip. I think he caught the tires maybe with the right front and the rest of the car just plowing on into that concrete barrier. You know, Joe, that is one of the knocks here against Road Atlanta in real life, is that is very, very dangerous corner. We've seen some very scary incidents with cars if you do make contact there. And there is St. Aubin. I think he was out there for a couple of laps just seeing if he could get it going. And I think he's calling it a day here in the finale.
It looks to be the case. We do have a battle between Luna and Newhook right now, though, as Luna goes around the outside on the exit of the chicane. That'll get him into 4th position, just sliding in front of Peter with the thinnest of margins in front of him. Down now to 8 minutes left on the clock as they head back into turn 1, way off the apex for Luna. Keeps the speed up through there at least. Swings back through, and nothing doing for Peter this time by, but Cabana looks quite patient back there. He's definitely holding station. If he gets a whiff of the slipstream on that last lap, I got a feeling he's going to try and throw himself into it.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there on that, Joe. I get the sense that Cabana is just waiting. I think he knows that these guys, at least Bouchard at any rate, or a New Hook at any rate, maybe has some championship aspirations, doesn't want to play spoiler to that, but is just waiting for the moment if he can attack later on in this race.
By the way, Bouchard a second a lap faster last time over Bouchard. It's down to 2 seconds. He's coming quickly. There's a little bit of dirt kicked up there from Luna on the way out of turn 7. Definitely pushing hard. He wants to get as good a finish as he can to wrap up the season. And the slipstream for Peter Newhook will give him the chance to pass if he wants to. And he's going to take a late look, but it seemed like a lift to me. So he'll stay in line.
Well, and he could be doing that for 2 reasons, Joe. One of them is he may be trying to go a little bit lighter on fuel on that last stop, although he did have one of the longer stops here, so I doubt that that's it. The other thing is that he may just want to position himself a little bit better to the back of Johnny Luna, not present himself an opportunity to get overtaken again. If Luna's running some pretty decent pace, which they are for the most part, keeping some pretty good pace with Michael Bouchard ahead of them, he may not want to make that overtake yet. He may just kind of want to let it play out.
That's a good point. Also, since we haven't had Bill Soups on with us for a while, I'm going to borrow his tinfoil hat. I wonder if Bouchard cut that a little too tight on his pit stop. It was 16 seconds. And the only driver quicker than him in the pit stop was Jason Larson with 14 seconds. Both of those, to me, seem way too low to be able to make it to the end on fuel. I kind of wonder if the 5 is having to do a little bit of lift and coast, and that's what's helping Bouchard catch up to him.
It very well could be, Joe. The average of pit stops that we're seeing is around, I would say, 20 seconds, with Holly, Bouchard all doing about a 19.8, 19.6. Some other drivers doing 22s, 23s. So that very well may be the situation there for Bouchard and that number 5.
In fact, Bouchard is now within half a second. You can see them together on the screen. Michael can't really waste time with Jacques all that much. Again, he's got to try and run down Holly, which is not looking realistic at this stage, but you never know. He's actually running pretty similar times to that 184 currently. So he is matching him. It's staying at about 11 seconds back, coming back into the first corner. Once again, less than 5 minutes left.
Indeed, less than 5 minutes left here. Crucially, looking at the timing and scoring, Jacques Bouchard still holds the fastest lap at 1:35.7. So that means that bonus point will not go to Holly or Bouchard right now. And it looks like the only bonus point available, provided that Bradley Holly or Michael Bouchard don't put down an absolute stonker here in the closing stages, will be that 3 incidents or less.
Amazingly, we've only had a single retirement, and that was St. Aubin, who with his damage has called it a day. Gallinotto's back out there, but he's 7 laps down, 11 from the leader, actually. And poor Patrick Cowgill is a lap down after his early damage sent him into the pits. Kind of wonder if maybe he hurt the suspension and he got a meatball flag that forced him to go in there, because it seemed like the car was driving okay. Meanwhile, as we watch Bouchard still ahead of Bouchard, behind them, another pair, Johnny Luna and Peter Newhook, are edging ever closer. This might be a 4-way fight to decide second and third.
It very well could be, as this is getting very scarily close. Under 3 minutes to go. We are getting close to 3.5 minutes exactly as they cross the line. 135's being run as Holly crossed over, so I believe that should give us about 3 laps to go, Joe?
I think so, yeah. That 3 laps to go, because the magic number, as we go side by side into the first corner, it's going to go to Jacques Bouchard. A valiant attempt from Bouchard, but couldn't make it stick. The magic number for 2 to go would have been about 3:12 to 3:14. So next time by, if it's above 1:35, 1:36, then we got 2 to go.
Indeed, yeah, you said it there. Bouchard fully caught up to the back there of Jacques Bouchard. Johnny Luna fully caught up as well. They're going to get efficacy of the draft going down the back straightaway. Newhook about 1.2 seconds behind. He's going to be hoping that these guys squabble a little bit and give him a chance to shoot his way forward.
Who has the fastest lap, though? I'm kind of curious. I think it still belongs to Bouchard, if I'm seeing right.
According to my screen, yeah, it's Bouchard with a 1:35.7.
Interesting. So Hawley can't take that one unless he really starts to put it down. And he's actually about a 10th off of Bouchard's quickest time. So if he feels like hustling the car that little bit more, he could do it if he's unsure if he'll take it. As we come down to the chicane with 2 wide and to the inside, Michaud goes through. A big lift from Bouchard. Luna goes by. Well, it'll pay right back to the number 5 because he comes back ahead of him, too deep in for Luna.
Indeed he does. Whoa. Little bit of a compromised line there for Jacques Bouchard coming down the hill, but he's able to recover it. He is not letting Michaud out of his sights. Now, 2 to go as they cross the line. If they finish the way they do, we believe Michael Michaud would be champion.
And behind them, Newhook is what I was reacting to. He just about did the exact same thing that St. Aubin did. And I spoke too soon. St. Aubin is back out. I keep forgetting they're allowed to leave the car now when they get repairs. That seems to be what has happened, as he left the car there but came back and is running. So no retirements at this stage in the race, but a 3-way fight to decide second, third, and fourth. Michaud up into P2, and that will help him keep the championship, but it will not guarantee it at this point.
No, it will not. There are still bonus points out there. Oh, that's Bouchard going wide.
Bouchard just dipping his wheels into the grass. That won't work for him. So that's one less car for Michael Michaud to fight. Johnny Luna a little bit back. I think, have they dropped Bouchard? He's about 1.1, 1.2 behind them, and it does look like it's growing. I don't know if he can hold on to this. Up in front of them, Bradley Hawley is coming to the white flag right now, along with some lap traffic. He's giving them a wide berth as Barney waves it for the 184. 1 to go to try and take the win, but he doesn't have the fastest lap, and we don't know if he has a clean race bonus.
We do not. We will find that out at the end of the race. Behind them, there you can see Bouchard following very closely behind Newhook. Luna up ahead of them has the gap down to about 0.3 of a second as they dive their way through turn 1 for the last time.
And just to put an extra complication in things, as there's a car off track, that is Galanotto, just I think kind of staying out of the way. Luna is on the Miata Mafia team with Michaud. Are they in contact? Has Michael asked Johnny to hold back to help him get this championship? Because if Johnny passes him, then yes, for sure, it goes to Hawley. But if he stays behind, then it comes down to the bonus points.
That is a wrinkle I didn't even think about, but Johnny Luna not looking like he is taking any of that advice. He was a little bit aggressive there going into turn 6, trying to find a way by. This is the great setup point. Luna has to back up a little bit coming out of turn 7, but he's still going to be close enough to maximize. They start to get their MX-5s up to speed.
Will he stay put? And that was Jacques Bouchard. Bouchard is out. I didn't see damage on the car for that flash of a moment, but we got to go to Bradley Hawley because he is out of the chicane, and it's going to be 5 wins out of 10 races for Bradley Hawley this season. Will that net him a championship as he crosses the line? As cool as ever, but he is waiting to hear if he has won it. Behind him, Michaud is fighting with Luna right now. Luna slots back into line, and it is going to be Michaud into second place. It'll be Luna into third, Newhook fourth. Now we have to wait and see who gets the bonus points.
Indeed we do. Joe Luna tried to have a look going down into turn 10, and it just didn't exactly work out. Still waiting for our screens to recover here and tell us how these bonus points will shake out. It does, however, look like that Johnny Luna was able to hold on to that fastest lap.
Interesting. So, oh no, it wasn't Luna. It was Bouchard.
Sorry, yeah, I meant Jacques Bouchard. That is my bad.
Yeah, Bouchard gets the fastest lap, and he didn't even get to see the final lap completed there. And I saw an oh wow out of Bradley Holly's mouth there as he crossed the line. I think even he couldn't believe he managed that this season. And we don't know if he knows what's going on with the championship points. While we wait for those, let's go through our finishing order. It was Bradley Holly with the win and Michael Bouchard in second place, leaving it as tight as can be. Johnny Luna finished in third behind his teammate. Well, I'd love to get to talk to him to see if he actually did get instructions to stay back. It was Peter Newhook who finished fourth. Our pole sitter just couldn't keep it together in this race. It was Kevin Bergquist in P5. Ian Cabana finished sixth, and Sean Vincent in seventh. And it's Pete Thomas eighth, Jason Larson ninth, and Pete Bledon rounds out your top 10.
In 11th, it was Malcolm Foster, followed by, Jacques Bouchard ended up lining in 11th, followed by Malcolm Foster with Marc Gassel a lap down, as was Patrick Cowgill. Matthew St. Aubin came home in 15th, 4 laps down, and Gallinotto 11 laps down.
And I'm seeing 3 incidents for Bradley Holly and 1 incident for Bouchard. Now, I do believe, let me double check the rule book here, that it is 3 or less and you get the clean bonus, because that will make the difference in it, I think. Drivers that complete 50% of the race distance with less than 4 incidents, so 3 or less, will get 1 bonus point. They both get 1 bonus point, which means with them both getting even on points, that Bouchard is your champion. Wow. Was single point between them in the end. And we've already got Bradley Holly here to talk to us after that race. The 184 is going to be just shy as we get ready to get his reaction on that. Bradley, congratulations. Your 5th win of the season, but by our math, this is unofficial. I think you have lost the championship by a single point. How are you feeling?
I was looking at it too. I'm not 100% sure. I think bonus points come into play also. If that's the case, then it would be a tie. I'm not 100% sure though.
Well, I see 3 incident points for you. Is that accurate?
Yes.
That would get you the bonus point, and it gets him the bonus point.
Okay.
And with you being even, it looks like the first place, 35 points for you and 32 for Bouchard. Neither of you got the bonus, so a 3-point difference, and you came in 4 points different.
Yep.
It's just not there. But what an incredible season, regardless, even if you didn't take the championship. We were making the comment that the fact that you came away with 5 wins on the road series and 0 on the oval, I would never have predicted that at the start of this season.
Yeah, the oval side is definitely the competition has gone way up, and I got to step my game up over there and get some more practice in. When it comes to road, I've been working on it too, as of late. So everybody that is in this league and MX5 league is been a ton of fun to race against, and I decided to go and send it on lap 1, turn 1, and almost kill any chance of having a shot at the championship. But all in all, it was a fun season.
How in the world did you not only catch up from 11th on the grid after that first lap mistake and then break away from them as well? Did you have just that much speed underneath you today?
I guess I got into my little try hard mode and realized how dumb it was to try to outbrake everybody going in 1 on cold tires. And a lot of it had to do with the checkups with the leaders a few laps in, and me getting the draft. The draft was worth surprisingly actually quite a bit today. So it was go time once I put myself in the grass.
Well, Bradley, DJ here. I guess the question that I have for you is what's going to be in store for next season? Are you going to try to come back again in these MX-5s or step it up into the GT3s, or what's it looking like for you?
I think I'm going to stick to the MX-5s just because of how much fun I was having, regardless on how I finished. We had some really good battles. I hope Bouchard comes back. I hope Newhook comes back. Luna and Bergquist, everybody. I hope they all come back and we all are able to duke it out again to the final race next season.
Well, it was fun to watch both you guys try and take it down to the end, and 4 wins on the trot, to me, says that you've got momentum on your side. Is there anybody you want to thank before you go?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the Waterback guys first off. They got me a good set today, and I was able to be pretty quick. I'd like to thank you guys for putting on a great show every week. I always enjoy going back and watching all the races throughout the week and rewatching maybe a couple other times if I'm bored. And everybody in PRL, we work hard to make sure that we have a good leagues throughout the week and make them fair and as fun as possible.
Well, thank you very much for the kind words, and I concur. You guys put on a fantastic league, and that was Bradley Hawley, our winner today, but sadly second in the championship. Still no doubt. I think everybody is giving a round of applause to the Texan. As we're going to take a quick break, we will come back here for Mount Panorama. The GT3 Pro Series decides their championship up next.
Hey guys, welcome to ASR. I'm Nick, this is Marc-Andre.
Hey everybody, so we're just here to announce that in this current season of PRL, we'll be giving away 2 ASR 3s to 2 lucky winners. So stay competitive, keep racing fair, and may the best man win.
How did we get this old?
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advent.
Welcome back to Mount Panorama. We are here now for the season finale of the GT3 Pro Series. Now, this is a track that most world motorsports fan on the roadside know about, but some Americans might not be as familiar. Let's head to our track guide to introduce you. Welcome to Mount Panorama Circuit. Most drivers simply refer to this place as Bathurst, with it being located just to the southwest of the city's major hub. But most ominously, and perhaps appropriately, it's been nicknamed the Mountain. With more than 500 feet of elevation change over the course of a lap, it's easy to understand why. Though originally built for racing, it's become a street circuit over time, with the track itself used for regular traffic and featuring residential housing all along the roads. This makes this 4-mile, 23-turn course incredibly unique in the world of racing. In the past, the track has hosted a variety of types of cars, including open-wheelers. But modern safety standards means that most competitive racing has now been limited to sports cars and touring cars. However, the dangers are very real due to the incredibly high speeds and lack of runoff throughout much of the circuit. The quickest parts are the run up the mountain straight towards Griffin's Bend, and then the flat-out blast back down the Conrad Straight and into the chase. This chicane was added in the late 80s to break up the run down to Murray's Corner. But while most chicanes are derided for ruining the character of a track, the terrifying speed as you approach it and the general difficulty make it fit right in with Bathurst challenges. However, the toughest portions are undoubtedly along the mountain itself, with notorious corners like the Cutting, Brock Skyline, the Dipper, and Forest Elbow. In fact, one of the more unique worries of this course is that all of these parts are so narrow that track blockages due to wrecks are not uncommon in the first few laps. The Australian fans often line the fences and hillsides to witness the daredevil spectacle of drivers trying to claim King of the Mountain. You can't blame them with how rare of a sight a track like Bathurst is today. Well, if we thought that the MX-5s at Road Atlanta would give us a good season finale, taking the GT3 cars to Bathurst almost seems a bit cruel, DJ.
Yeah, it really kind of does, Joe, as this is without question one of the trickiest circuits on the sim. But that doesn't mean that there aren't opportunities to pass. There are plenty of great areas to pick up a good little draft and get a move done. Those main areas be going down into Quarry Bend off of the Mountain Straight, as well as Griffin's Bend, rather, going down the Mountain Straight, as well as into the chase off of Conrad Straight and down into Murray's Corner as well. But outside of those areas, it's going to be a bit of a processional follow the leader race, because you do not want to be going too wide as you climb up this all fearsome hill through the Cutting and all the way down through Forest Elbow. Because of that, I do genuinely think that any of these championship hopefuls, if they want to have a chance at taking it, they need to be at least in the top 5 or 6.
Certainly. And as we take a look at that championship, up at the top of it is Rodrigo Mies. He has a 7-point gap down to Antoine Lascherite, who is obviously the best position. But look, it's only one behind to Guillaume Levesque. Now, the simplest way for this to think about, because there's 6 drivers mathematically eligible in this one, is if Mies finishes first or second, regardless of what bonus points he gets, he has clinched it today. But if he falls down the order, then it gets a little bit more complicated. From there on down, you can see Ludicky and Karl Modoff are a lot more distant, and Daniel Ferguson also suffering from that same problem, as he is in 6th and he is 32 points back. So those are your 6 ones that are able to try and do something there. What about in the teams championship, DJ?
Well, speaking of Able, Joe, it is ASRX Able Esports that have pretty much locked down this championship here today. They have got a healthy enough advantage that unless pretty much all of their cars crash out, they will be crowned team champions. From there, Punto CO Racing Black does have a little bit of an assault coming up from behind him on Pure Sims Esports, but that's a pretty big 22-point gap that they'll have to try to make over. Vendaval Sim Racing Black, they're closer to Pure Sims, so they'll have to try to really fight ahead here. And Davidson Motorsports, they are pretty much clear of that battle for 4th, but they do have SRT Esports Black and ASR Able Esports Red breathing down their necks, so they're going to have to be a little bit careful and watch their back.
Indeed. And for this race, it is a little bit longer than what we just watched, 40 minutes for the Pro Series. And they still have the pit stop to worry about, which can really be a difficult thing at a place like Bathurst, where it has a tough pit entry. And it's also open setup in this one. They get a drive-through penalty at 13 incidents and a disqualification at 17, just like before. As you can imagine, it's going to be a little harder to rack those up without really trashing the car at this street course. Now, bonus points, again, could affect the championship, so we'll have to watch out for that, the same as it was. And they are in the midst of the qualifying, but they just started it, and the laps around here are just over 2 minutes, which means I believe they will only be able to get 3 of them in here.
Yeah, it's not going to be a whole lot, so you've really got to maximize when you can. Track conditions out here are pretty good. It's about 75 degrees out on track, 75 degrees track temperature, rather, 73 degrees air temperature, 43% humidity, but the big part to play in mind there is that 13-mile-an-hour wind coming out of the southeast. Could be a little bit of buffeting for these cars, but because of the relatively low downforce in the cars, I'm not too worried about. But what it will do is you're going to get a little bit of a headwind and a tailwind coming up and down the Mountain and Conrod Straights, respectively. And so there could be some big draft advantages there.
So we watch as our drivers get ready to finish this first lap. This is Bouchard that we've got on screen. Levesque is just in front of him on the track, getting ready to set a time. There's going to be a whole bunch of them coming across at once because of them all trying to get as many laps in as possible here in the qualifying, not wanting to sit around. A lot of curb there for Phil as he takes that ASR Able Esports machine through the chase and to the start-finish line. I'm keeping my eye on Levesque as well. He's going to get there first. A 202 flat for Guillaume. And more cars coming across Bouchard. Wow, half a second ahead of Rodrigo Mies, who goes into second place. The 773 is lightning quick today.
Yes, indeed, he is. So that is going to be fun to see, especially considering Bouchard, not one of our championship hopefuls. So that's going to be a little bit of a fly in the ointment there. Watching to see some more times coming in. Michael Davies coming into 8th right now. Karl Modoff is coming to the line. However, Modoff was weaving down that long Conrad straight, so I think he's just coming up to speed.
Modoff, yeah, unfortunately had that lap deleted. Looks like Morales did as well. He just crossed. This is Arnaud Genet coming up through Reed and to the top of the mountain. Looks like Lowendick puts himself into 6th on the first time of asking. Alessandro Torchio is out there getting ready to cross the line as Genet. Whoa, and Genet just about bends it. Car does not wreck. This lap is already done, but, oh, he's going to park it anyways. And I think that might do it on what laps he can even put down.
I think it very well might with the 202. He's going to have it a little bit tricky. He may be able to get out in time, but that is not a guarantee. Yeah, that Lamborghini is going to be a little bit tricky coming up over the hill. It's a big, heavy, wide car. Sometimes the handling isn't exactly the best, especially on some more medium speed corners. So I think you may see a couple of drivers struggle with that a little bit, but that Lambo will be incredibly fearsome in a straight line. So there's going to be a give and take when it comes to the makes and manufacturers around here.
And interestingly, our 3 closest in the championship, Mies, Lashrite, Levesque, are in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th after that first lap. Lashrite's just coming to the line now. And, oh, Morales has a bit of an issue, unfortunately, out of Forest Elbow. Lashrite has his lap deleted, so that won't count for him. Hugo Gallo goes up 1 after he crosses the line. Bouchard has his lap taken away that time by Horatio Calquin. Up to 9th now with that 202.93 that he just put down. Raditz finally puts one on the board, only good enough for 12th, though. And Rodrigo Mies, another driver, experiencing his lap taken away. Did we have a bunch of drivers maybe pop in and get fresh tires? That's a bit weird that we had so many go over the limit that lap.
Yeah, indeed. I don't believe he did. I was watching Rodrigo that entire time, and it didn't look like it. But Karl Modoff just popped his way up into 3rd place right now. He's about a half second off of Bouchard right here. So Modoff running a good time. He has an outside shot at this championship, but it is still hopeful if there's a big kerfluffle coming up the hill.
Absolutely. And Torchio is going to find himself crossing and not going faster. Oof, ooh, wheels in the grass through McPhillamy Park. That was brave from Bouchard. He kept it together. Jeffrey Ooms just got one down, a 204.1 for him. Teddy Lowendick is the last with a time. A 204.3 will improve him, but it does not bump him up the order. And now Bouchard along Conrad starts to pick up speed. This will be his last timed lap.
It will indeed, looking as well through the order. I think Rodrigo Mies is one we may want to watch out for. He did a personal best there through all three opening sectors. Bouchard setting a purple sector there in sector 5, so this could be a close one to the line, Joe.
It could, and I see Williams ahead of him is going to get his next lap. He sits in 6th place, and Bouchard will abandon it. He's going to practice his pit entry in the meantime. Williams crosses, doesn't have that lap counted. Looks like Horatio Calquin is in. Rodrigo Mies is up next in the 88 car as he is around the corner and across the line. It doesn't count. That's it for him in qualifying. He'll do no better than second, won't get the bonus point. And I think that is it. Nobody else is able to set a lap from here.
No, I believe you are right about that, Joe. We'll just kind of check in on the last couple of drivers making their way around. I believe that's the 72 on your screen of Teddy Lowendick.
Sorry, I was wrong. Modoff, I'd missed some drivers out there. Modoff managed to go up to second just now, toppling Mies off the front row. And Levesque just goes faster, but he does not improve his position.
No, he does not. Keeping an eye for anybody else out there that can do anything in these closing 45 seconds. Not sure where Lowendick is on track. He's one of the few that I see still plugging around.
I see Lowendick in the chase right now. So I think he should have enough time, but I think he might be the last one. Lowendick is still getting to the chase himself. He's only got about 30 seconds left. Teddy, as I mentioned, has got the slowest lap of our qualifiers right now. This time through, he does not improve, and that'll be it. Lowendick just might squeak across. He's got 10 seconds left. The 16 car is around Murray's corner. Yeah, he is going to get across the line. Let's see if he can go higher than 8th place. 2:02.4, 4/10 quicker. He goes up to 6th. That really does now conclude our qualifying. And it is Phil Bouchard who denies our championship hopefuls the bonus for pole. He'll start next to Carl Modoff in second, with Rodrigo Mies, our points leader, starting from third. Guillaume Levesque, who sits third in the points, will start from fourth. And then Antoine Lashwright, who is behind Mies in the points, starts from fifth. Nick Lowendick will be P6. Jared Williams in seventh. Hugo Gallo 8th. Arnaud Genet 9th. And Horatio Calquin rounds out your top 10.
It's going to be Michael Davies starting off in 11th, followed by Alessandro Torchio with Christian Raditz and Jeffrey Ooms in 14th. Teddy Lowendick, the last of your drivers, 2 set a time here with Andrew Caron, Diego Morales, and James David rounding out your field.
We're waiting for the drivers to finish gridding up, and then we will start a short pace lap, and we will start through. We do have some onboards as well today. So let's see who's given us their view from the cockpit. And looks like Teddy Lowendick is our first. I'm excited to see this and see what he's got in store for us. I don't think we gave him a suggestion this time, did we?
No, because the last suggestion we gave him was the Mariachi Band, and he came through on that for us. What?
Well, he's trying to finish clean, so he's ready to go. Yeah. That's my guess. I don't know if that's actually the theme he's going for. I think he taped the duck. Yeah, it looks like he duct taped the duck to his shoulder. Well done there, Teddy. We'd also have Phil Bouchard, our pole sitter, giving us perspective. And I always love his setup as he's chatting away with one of his teammates, I presume, here today with that very cool looking tire in the background. And then we've got Arnaud Genet as well. Another very fancy setup. Everybody's sim rig rooms always look so much more clean and nicer than mine, I have to say. And then finally, we have Guillaume Levesque, another championship hopeful, starting from third. His looks a little bit more like mine, just a simple black void behind him here as we get ready to go racing. And not much change in the weather, but I don't think the weather is going to be the main rival here today, main consideration for the drivers, DJ. I think it is the track itself.
Yeah, indeed, Joe. It is going to be a battle of the track and making sure you don't make any silly mistakes coming up and down the hill is just the merest missing of a braking point can send you off into oblivion.
All right, pace car should be ducking in here any second. There it goes. Bouchard has control of the field. Is he going to try and leave them behind out of Murray's corner? He is indeed. He accelerates away as the green flag waves. It's a good jump over Karl Modov behind him. Levesque able to get ahead of Mies on the front stretch and defends down to the inside into Hell Corner. Behind them, will everybody squeak through? It looks like they will.
Yeah, everybody through nice and easy, and this is the first time we're really going to be able to tell, Joe, who trimmed their cars out for the hill and who kept the downforce on, as that's a big move to the inside there for Karl Modov, either try to break the draft or just get into the head right now of your leader, Phil Bouchard, as they go through Griffin's Mount for the first time. Oh, somebody off!
Oh, and thankfully they're off the racing line. That's Lowendick, who definitely took a piece of the wall with him. And he's going to try and turn it around since thankfully everybody has passed. Only 16 cars started here today. Thought that we would have a couple more than that, but a few did not take to the grid as we now fly through these swift left-handers past all the various parts. Solomon Park down through McPhillamy here and over Skyline.
Exactly, Joe, and this is the part of the circuit where you just have to block everyone else out of your view. We've had another incident there in the back. I believe that are the two of the Ferraris that looks like Calquin and Davies, rather.
And Arnaud Genet was involved. He got a big hit, but he's able to keep rolling. I can't imagine the car is handling well because it went right into the side of him. But he got pushed back forward and just kind of kept going with it as our leaders are already on Conrad. Bouchard ahead of Modov. Now, we mentioned that some of the drivers were a bit farther away, and with such a small field, little look to the inside from Levesque. That won't work out for him. He backs off out of it. With such a small field, once we hit halfway, it once again will be whittled down, this time to the top three, Mies, Lashrite, and Levesque. Everyone behind them from then on is eliminated.
Exactly. And Joe, you and I were talking before the broadcast. Rodrigo Mies, if he finishes second or first, he will lock down the championship. From there, there's some different combinations and permutations that will go into play. Right now, Mies currently drives in fourth. That's him on your screen. Guillaume Levesque, one of his title rivals, directly in front of him.
But between third and fourth, it is only 2 points between them, so that won't be enough for Levesque to beat him from that position. He'll need to get up and win from there. And that's not even taking into account the bonus points. So again, we're going to be doing a lot of math post-race. At least we got a bit of a break for this one to try and make sure we get it all right. And as they come up the hill on the second lap, we had a few problems first time through, but amazingly, only Cal Quinn has had to come into pit lane. Everybody else is still rolling.
Yeah, indeed. Everybody else still doing it as this leading pack separates out a little bit here. It is BMW versus Porsche versus BMW versus Porsche. The Lamborghini of Antoine Lashrite starting to fall behind. They're starting to fall behind a little bit, losing just a hair touch as they make their way over Skyline.
Not expecting much, if any, passing through this portion, and it's here where they'll start to overtake once again. Once they get out of Forest Elbow, I think Christian Raditz had a bit of an issue. Yeah, he had, we don't have to go to it, but the 33 had slight contact with the wall through the S's. I think he was able to keep going as a little bit of a look to the inside and a big look to the inside. That is Levesque going by Modov up into second place. That changes things. 32 points for second place versus 28. That's a 4-point difference between them. Still not quite enough, but it gets him much closer.
Exactly, and don't forget here that his teammate, I believe, is Phil Bouchard there right ahead of him. So we may see some team tactics coming into play for that ASR Able Esports machines for those two twin BMWs, as they all know what's at stake. The other part of it is that Antoine Lashrite is another one of their teammates, and he's directly behind Rodrigo Mies. So if he and that Lamborghini are able to put Mies down a peg, that is only going to help his teammates' position in the championship.
Bad news for fans of Raditz. He did come into pit lane, but he drove it in. And I think he's taking repairs since then, so it must have been too hard of a hit that he had to try and sit and bang away at the carbon fiber. Meanwhile, look at how close these guys are running. They've lost touch with Levesque by about 1.5 seconds, but from there on down, or lost touch with Bouchard rather, from Levesque down to Lasherite in 5th, they are separated by all of about 1 second.
Yeah, it is very, very tight. They have dropped off of the rest of the field. Hugo Gallo, the closest car behind them in that number 23 Porsche. He runs about 2 seconds off the tail of Antoine Lasherite. So very, very good pace here from the leaders. The other part of this is you can start to see Phil Bouchard starting to streak away. About 1.5 seconds as they make their way through Forest Elbow and onto Conrad.
Ooh, Jeffrey Ooms is slow out of the S's. And, well, we can't even see him. Looks like something's seriously wrong with that Ferrari as he hit the wall a couple more times there. This started out of the dipper. I think he must have just lost control. And since then, he's trying to limp it home as we go wheel to wheel and shooting across the grass. That is Lasherite, who is going to find himself coming back in 5th. This is not good for our driver second in the points coming into today's race. He'll fall to 6th now as Gallo tries to go the long way around. He'll deny him that as he fights back out of Murray's.
Yeah, I think he was just a little overambitious with that move going down into the chase. Joe, it just seemed a little too far out of reach for him. And now a big gap of about 3 seconds between himself and Rodrigo Mies. That is not what one of your championship hopefuls wanted today.
And Lasherite has got a lot of work in front of him now because he's the closest position. He needs to get up and win effectively to cut down on those 7 points, at least as it sits now for Mies. And up through the cutting, difficult left hander, just uphill and blind. And wow, Modov wants that spot back. Look at him just trailing the exhaust behind the 888. That can be a bit scary on this narrow track as we watch the onboard of Levesque now. The closer you sit behind the car, the more likely you get caught up in their mistake.
Yeah, exactly. With as close as the walls are, you can really get a sort of ping pong effect, specifically coming over Skyline here into the S's and the Dipper. It is very, very easy to just brush one of those outside walls, lose control of the car, and just ping pong back and forth across the track. And if you are as close behind as Modov was, you've got nowhere to go. But Carl gets a great run there out of Forest Elbow as they make their way onto the Conrad straight. Looking at the speed differences right now, it looks like that BMW's got a little bit more straight line speed, able to hold it at least over Modov and the Porsche.
And I loved as we watched the face cam there for Levesque. He even through the Skyline and the S's, he was still glancing in his mirrors to see how far back Carl was. Much better through the chase for Carl. Breaks a little early down into Murray's. Gives a bit of that time back. Maybe just trying to set himself up for the exit because it does look pretty good here. And as they head towards Hell Corner, once again, earlier on the brakes, or is he maybe doing a tiny little bit of lift and coast because he's kind of known for trying to save fuel in these GT3 cars?
Well, it could be one or it could be the other, Joe. It also could be the fact that I have a sneaking suspicion that the ASR Able Esports drivers here today may have trimmed out those BMWs more than the cars around them. That would account for why Modov is significantly quicker than them coming up through the hill here and is able to keep nice and close behind. But once they get onto the straightaways, it looks like he's having a little bit of problem keeping up with them. And so what Modov may have been doing in that situation was just trying to take a little bit of a later apex into the corner and just carry a little bit more momentum through there so he didn't have to worry about trying to gain that speed quite as much.
So far, it hasn't netted him the position, but yeah, that's a good point. He seems like he's extremely strong over the mountain compared to Levesque. Just keeping the pressure onto him, but can't manage to get up to that tailpipe once they get to the long straights. Don't forget about Mies back there in that second Porsche. Oh, and did he just clip the inside wall? I think that Carl Modov may have caught a little bit of the concrete.
I think you may be right, Joe. I'm going back to check out the replay now, but that car, yeah, you can see on the driver's right there, that splitter upturned ever so slightly, losing a little bit of straight line speed here, and indeed, he's already lost out to Rodrigo Mies.
So that helps Mies out in the championship. He would still be our champion as it sits here. Let's see if we can get an onboard replay with Carl, because I kind of want to watch and see how hard that blow looked, because unfortunately, from my angle, I was cut off a little bit by a tree, so I could only see the car's reaction as it kind of bounced back. Let's watch. This will happen into forced elbow, so it'll be the final left-hander in this whole sequence.
Looking at it now, there he goes.
No.
No. It was just some snap oversteer from Carl, and I'm having a closer look at that Porsche. My eyes deceived me. There doesn't appear to be any damage on that front splitter. I think that is just a moment of snap oversteer, and this is the point in the broadcast where I have to bring up how that Porsche performs. Remember, rear engine, rear wheel drive, it's got a snappy rear end to it, and I think it just came back to bite Carl there.
It certainly did, and amazing job catching that. I don't think I've ever seen anybody manage to catch a snap like that and not have it get sent out into the barrier on the outside through forced elbow. There's just no room for error in that corner. I'm glad we watched the replay, though, because that lets us know that it should be a clean car still at this stage. But Rodrigo Mies, with the clear air, is doing the best he can to now try and catch up to Levesque just to keep him within sight, make sure that Guillaume doesn't start to do anything that could threaten that championship.
Yeah, exactly. That's really what he wants to do. And I'm going back and comparing some times here, Joe. I think my suspicions are confirmed about those BMWs. The top speed for Mies and Modoff that they've been able to clock in this race is about 170 miles an hour. Compare that to Levesque and Bouchard, it's 176 and 173, respectively.
Interesting. Well, then, that will make a difference in this fight, I have to imagine, as the minutes tick down. We're already past 10 minutes into this one, as just behind the car of Rodrigo Mies, Carl Modoff keeps it down to about 0.3 of a second. And the driver in front of them, that is the second place car right now of Levesque. Remember, Phil Bouchard, we haven't really looked at him much yet this race. He is now 3 seconds ahead of everybody and is very little concern about the championship itself, except for maybe his teammate. He just wants to come in and win this race.
Yeah, indeed he does. And the way they run right now with Mies in third, as you said, even if Levesque here would go on to take that that point position away from his teammate Bouchard, would not be enough to net him the championship without bonus points. So that is certainly still up to play here.
Thing that's amazing is that Bouchard, I guess, just must like this track or something, because he's only had 2 top 5s so far in this season out of 5 starts, and then has missed a whole bunch of races. Now that he's back, well, I guess the rest did him a lot of good, because he's looking a little bit untouchable today.
Yeah, really just does not seem like anybody can get to him. And, you know, I have to say, Bathurst is really a love it or hate it kind of track. Either you just love this thing and it is your cup of tea, or you do not like it at all and you will skip it on the schedule if at all possible. So we could very well be seeing that out of Bouchard, that is just not that this is just his baby, that this is one where he really, really enjoys it and is able to put down these stonking lap times.
I'm trying to figure out, as we came to his face cam, he threw his hand up and looked a little frustrated. So I went back to look to see if maybe he brushed the wall or anything, and I didn't see anything on my screen like that. So maybe he just wasn't happy with the lap. It does look like he lost a little bit of time. It's down to 2.9. And that last lap of 2:03.1, yeah, that was about half a second off. So he must have just, I guess, accepting nothing but perfection here today for him.
Yeah, and truthfully, coming up and down the hill, that's a little bit of what you have to expect from yourself, is that sense of perfection. Because if you really start to lose anything from about the cutting all the way up to Mafilamy Park, that is one massive sequence, and really, if you get offline through there, you don't have a chance to recover it until you get that little mini straight before you hit Skyline, and then it's the same story again until you get to Forest Elbow. So he may have just slightly been offline, that threw his whole sequence off, and was only able to really vent that frustration once he got onto the Conrad Straight.
By the way, the track has been gobbling up cars. We just haven't really been showing it a whole lot, and many of them happened on the first lap or two. Cal Quinn is taking repairs, Davies is, and so is, Lowendick was, and he has now just called it quits. He is out of the session, and it looks like Jeffrey Ooms is as well. So now just Davies and Cal Quinn able to come back. Raditz, Ooms, and Lowendick officially DNF'd today.
And Lowendick there, obviously, that does have championship implications. He was one of about the 6 or 7 drivers that were possible to take it here. But we are taking closer to that 50% mark, and he would have been eliminated from the championship regardless after that mark was hit.
Yeah, Modoff and Ferguson are the other two. I don't think we have Ferguson here today, though, don't we? No, we do not have Daniel Ferguson here. So it is Modoff, basically, the only other one that's waiting to get eliminated. And he's been doing fairly decently today, but he's still only in 4th, and we're riding on board with him right now as he continues to chase Rodrigo Mies. Modoff definitely needs a win and some bonus points to have a shot at it, being 31 points back. He needs all 3, Mies, Lascherite, and Levesque, to effectively wreck from here before we get to that 20-minute mark.
Yeah, he does, but I just took a quick onboard listen with Karl Modoff. He is still backing up those corners a little bit, Joe, so it doesn't look like he's on full attack mode here. And we talked a little bit earlier that Modoff is one of those drivers that is known as having a very, very light right foot. I think he may be trying to save a little bit of fuel here, just bide his time a little bit, maybe try to run 1 lap more than the rest of these drivers around him, Mies and Levesque in particular, and really try to shoot off like a cannon when he gets the opportunity.
Yeah, Karl Modoff is, I use this term maybe a little too often on this channel, but he is very Dixon-esque. And I say that because he is not only just good at saving the fuel, he's good at doing that while being fast, which is really, I think, the true test of if you are a Scott Dixon. And somehow Modoff, I mean, you can see he is holding relative pace with the leaders. He's still only about 5 seconds off of Bouchard, and is still able to back up the corners, like you said, save a little bit of fuel out there. So the 948 may be able to jump a few, and track position could wind up being key here when we get to the end. You can use the slipstream to try and overtake, but having that track position will certainly help you when you get close to the checkered flag.
Yeah, it really most certainly will, Joe. And as we've said, the setup changes across these different cars, the characteristics of the different cars across this GT3 field, you just want to put yourself out in front as much as possible. It's far easier to defend around here than it is to overtake. And, we've seen what can happen when you get a good run and you just blow it a little bit with Antoine Lascherite going down into the chase and missing that corner and really scuppering his chances at anything. So track position, that's what we want to see. That's what these drivers want more than anything.
Well, we've got a bit of a lull in the action. Could we go back to Teddy Lowendick's face cam here? Because our director's wondering the same thing that I was wondering when he was lining up. How is he racing with goggles on? Tinted goggles, too. Well, there's your answer. A little bit of an off there. And has to adjust them a bit as he comes back to the racetrack now. Of course, I say that he's also done an entire race with the his green suits on. There he goes. Now he puts them up. I was going to say that just seems like unnecessary hard mode for himself.
Well, sometimes, Joe, you just need to give yourself a little bit of an extra challenge when you are running an iRacing. And I think Teddy there either heard that we were coming to him and put those goggles on, or this was just a moment where he said, I can't do this, taking a little bit of a sip of water there as he goes down the mountain straight.
Well, unfortunately, this rubber ducky will not be the one as it looks right now because, well, unless you count 2 ones, he is in 11th. I guess we'll give him that. And he's got 2 ducks, so there you go. As he comes into the cutting and is still the last driver running here today. Definitely survival mode, it seems, for the 72 as he plugs away around this Australian track.
Yeah, and truthfully, though, Joe, survival mode sometimes is what gets you a pretty decent result here at Bathurst. You know, we are just over halfway. As these cars get lighter, they could get a little bit dancier. Tires get worn in a little bit. And Teddy could very well see his way up to a top 10 here by just staying in and putting in consistent lap time. Sometimes that's how you take the victory here at Mount Panorama.
Very true. It's all about survival. And we come back to the battle between Mies and Modoff. We've been watching this the most because everybody else is spread out significantly. And that time through, that was not the best line for Karl Modoff, way off the apex. And so now he's got a gap of a few car lengths to try and catch up to on Mies. But from our calculations, it looks to be that it is still Mies who will be the champion. Now, let me double check on the bonus points here. I think that shouldn't change anything, because neither Mies nor Levesque has the bonus for pole. Who has fastest lap right now? Gonna guess that that's Bouchard.
Yes, it is by about 0.02 of a second over Antoine Lascherite with a 2:02.37.
Ooh, yeah, that is very tight. So Lascherite could yet still steal that away from him if he gets a bit of slipstream and is able to pull a fast one in there. So there's a bonus point for Bouchard, so not going to Levesque or Mies, and it comes down to the, if it comes down to the bonus for a clean race, with them being separated by second and third, that is a 2-point difference. So at the most, as it sits right now, Levesque will be able to get a 3-point difference, and he has to make up 8. Oh, as just a little bit of a clip of the wall there. Who was that we were on board with?
That was Antoine Lascherite, yeah. So I think that Lamborghini was able to escape pretty easily without any damage on it. But yeah, remember, he is the one who tried to get past Rodrigo Mies a little bit earlier in the race, coming down into the chase here, and just blew the corner out, did a little excursion over the grass. Oh, I think I've got Teddy Lowendick. Indeed, Teddy had a little bit of an off track there. I don't know if he actually, yeah, he's got a little bit of damage on the left front of that machine. That's coming up over McPhillamy Park.
I think he didn't hit the wall, though. He just ran across the curb. Actually, did a very good job as he came across. Here it is right here. Slide sideways. That would be a backside lip slide right there to fakey out.
There you go. And indeed, I'm actually looking at Teddy's car before he went into the incident. He already had that damage, so no damage apparently from that off track.
Hugo Gallo in pit lane in the meantime. Not sure if this is scheduled or if this is due to some damage. He did drive it into pit lane, and I'm not seeing any major contacts with the wall on the previous lap, so I'm guessing this is him electing to take his service now, which we are towards the end of the pit window, and that makes sense to me, that he figures it's a good time as any to try and get that one done. He'll return in 10th place ahead of Lowendick before Teddy even is able to come back around.
Yeah, indeed, and that's really what he wants to be able to do, is just get yourself out into some clean air, make everything a little bit easier for you so you don't have to mess with any of these other cars out on track and you can just run your own race.
Back to Modoff, still behind Mies. If I'm Rodrigo Mies in this situation right now, DJ, I have to think, just keep the car whole. Just keep it running. Don't hit anything and run consistent and clean laps. And he's got this wrapped up because he's got to fall a lot of places down. So he's almost his own worst enemy. If he wrecks the car, that's the most likely thing that could lose him the championship.
Yeah, indeed, Joe. Looking at the numbers very, very quickly, I believe he can fall as far back as 5th and still be safe from not losing due to bonus points across the board. So he's got plenty out there, and he just wants to keep this thing plugging the right way.
Indeed. So a couple positions that can be handed away if he needs to. I'm sure he doesn't want to, but it's been so far so good for the 88, and we're down to 15 minutes left to go. But we're waiting on those pit stops. Hopefully everybody's practiced that pit entry. We're still waiting to see if we get Michael Davies back out on course. Now, I see his pit time has switched around. Did he briefly come back out on course in that 75? Just checking to see if that's the case. He tried to. Looks like he pulled out of his pit stall, and I guess just in that short, brief stint up to the pit exit, he decided it was not handling like it should and towed it back to pit lane to get more repairs.
I think that's a pretty heads-up play there from Davies, just recognizing the car is not doing well and does not want to mess with it. I know there are very, very few things I would rather do than drive a damaged GT3 car around Mount Panorama.
Well, especially with the championship on the line, I think that is very gentlemanly of the 75, knowing that, yes, he might want to try and get points and make it to halfway in this race, but it's not worth trying to risk your rivals who've got a lot on the line. And at worst, Davies probably going to just lose a couple spots in the championship due to that. Meanwhile, the 888 of Levesque down Conrad leads Mies behind him in the Porsche, ahead of the Porsche of Karl Modoff. That's second, third, and fourth, all behind Phil Bouchard, who has got it up to about 4.5 seconds ahead of them. Has been leading since the drop of the green, took the pole position, hasn't been touched, and looks set to give himself his first win of the season if he gets this one.
Yeah, indeed. Just doing a really, really great job here to keep that car moving around the way that he wants to. And also kudos here to Guillaume Levesque, who's just driving a very solid race. He's been able to build out a little bit of a gap over Rodrigo Mies. Remember, that was a lot closer earlier. He's got it up to about 1.5 seconds right now.
It's got to be a little frustrating, though, for Levesque, knowing he's come so close in the championship. I don't know if he's doing the math in his head here or knows what needs to be done, but as it stands, I got to think that he's aware that having Mies directly behind him probably will not get the job done. Genet now pits in as we watch him look into the corner, look to the apex there, and then back through Reed, up and over the crest for Guillaume Levesque. Look at how close he dares to get to those concrete walls on either side, using up every inch of the track.
When you can see there's sort of that shutter out of his right shoulder there, just showing you the amount of travel that goes on in the suspension over this mountain section of the track and how much you've really got to keep just an iron grip on your steering wheel as you make your way up and down here. You've got to take advantage of the curbing and yet not run too far as to completely upset the car and upset any of your braking or steering zones. It is just threading the needle to the nth degree, Joe. Levesque doing a very good job.
Yeah, it's still in second place to boot. Now, it did fall back a bit this lap. Looks like Bouchard found some pace, or Levesque maybe dropped off because it's up to 5 seconds now from first to P2. So they're switching around, but I think we should expect them in this lap. Let's see if Bouchard decides to pit. Yes, he does. So the 773, does he get a good pit entry? Yes, he has got it. And then Levesque is up next. Levesque is clean in. Mies is clean in. And Modoff, to the surprise of very few, will stay out for one more lap.
Exactly, and now what is going to be interesting here is if he is able to get the jump over Rodrigo Mies. That is the battle that I am going to be watching most crucially as Karl Modoff now inherits the lead and takes his number 948 Porsche around this Mount Panorama circuit for one more lap.
And you got to think, it's a 2-minute lap around here and up and down a mountain to boot. So that's a lot of fuel that you suck up in the term of one lap. So that's got to be a pretty good portion that he's saved to potentially put less fuel on once he gets back around. So will this give him what he's been hoping for and managed to get that track position once again. He was briefly ahead of Mies earlier on in this race. So does he have more in it? Oof, man, he is still hustling it, getting it right up to the edge of things. Now we come down through Skyline and into the Dipper. Still wheeling that car right up to the edge of it. Out of the S's, down to Forest Elbow. How close does he dare get? He had a little bit of a snap once. This time it's nice and clean, and he's on to Conrad.
Yeah, it is indeed. And Joe, you know, I was keeping an eye on his telemetry there. It's a really impressive job from Modoff, and it almost goes without saying, but just the perfect amount of backing off when he needed to. Just letting the throttle out a little bit, letting some of the natural momentum and gravity carry him down the hill through Skyline and the S's. Just sort of a half throttle motion as he goes through there, doing a great job with it. Let's see if he dives on in.
He does enter this time. No changes in the pit stops for our other drivers. Bouchard, Levesque, and Mies all came out in the same order. Mies had a very quick stop, though. 9.5 seconds. Lashrite was similar at 9.4. So let's see what Carl Modoff has.
Waiting for Modoff to come to rest in his box. Looking at Rodrigo Mies. He is passing pit entry right now and coming through Murray's. Modoff waiting for service as Mies crosses the start-finish.
I think we had an issue for Hugo Gallo. We'll get to that replay in a bit. Modoff is back out, and it was the quickest stop that we've seen, bar J.R. Williams, who had an 8.8. Is definitely the fastest among the top 5. Only gets him a little bit up to Rodrigo Mies. He stays in the 4th position. So Hugo Gallo now promotes Teddy Lowendick up to 10th with his wreck. And unfortunately for Hugo, it was a monster one around one of the fastest parts of the mountain. Oh, he took a little too much curve on the inside. That sent him out. And then from there, you called it a ping pong. That's exactly what happened. He was just bouncing back and forth.
Yeah, just took a little bit too much curving there, as you said. We ride on board with him. It was a curb, and it was glancing into that outside wall. You could just see a little bit of a bounce there that completely unsettled the car as that horizontal movement in the suspension, no control at all, and he found himself facing the wrong way.
And if people think this looks scary, and especially that wreck looks scary, they actually race GT3 cars around here in real life. The 12 hours of Bathurst is done with GT3 cars. So this is actual stuff that we're seeing that happens on this course.
Yeah, indeed, Joe. This is very real to life. A lot of these exact cars you can see out on track tearing this up in a 12-hour endurance race. And just imagine how difficult that is. These guys are only racing for 40 minutes. You're part of a 3 or 4 car team that you're putting hours into this car.
Absolutely. Well, the good thing is that GT3 cars do have a lot of driver aids to help you out, and that's got to make you feel at least a little bit better in real life about trying to put yourself in the danger of those walls. But you still certainly risk limb if potentially life racing across what is a huge hill with nothing but some fencing and some concrete walls keeping you from flying over the edge. Meanwhile, we come back up the mountain straight. Bouchard still at about 5 seconds ahead of Levesque. Now that the pit stops are done, it looks like Mies still holds the championship lead as he sits in 3rd place. And we got 6 minutes left to go. So it is going to be 3 laps left next time they cross the line.
Indeed it is. So not a whole lot of time here on track. Modoff still trying to close down a little bit on Rodrigo Mies, but that gap holding at about 1.5 seconds. A lot of these battles pretty separated out here.
Now it's a fight with yourself. It is all down to that mental acuity, those reactions, your muscle memory, trying to hit those marks each and every time, and how fast you dare try and push that car on each lap as well. Certainly looks like the driver of Levesque here is pushing mighty hard, because that thing, based on the car's behavior on track, it looks like it is being taken to the limit as he comes down Conrad. Mees still holding on at about a second and a half behind him. If he makes a mistake, he can still open the door for Rodrigo to overtake him on track itself.
Exactly, but as we've talked about, Joe, I'm not sure how aggressive, let's say, Rodrigo is going to want to be making that move. He right now will take home the championship if he finishes the way he is right now. So unless it is a wide open door, I very much doubt that we're going to see Rodrigo Mees really try to push Guillaume Levesque here.
I'm with you on that. I don't see a reason for him to try and get up and then overtake. At this point, he can cruise to a championship, and well deserved, I must say, because Rodrigo has come close in the past, but this time he will find himself using his consistency to net it. And actually, we should point out that he doesn't have any wins this season. In fact, the top three coming into this race did not have a win. Lowendick was the highest, and Bouchard going to net one for him, but he wasn't even the championship hunt. Modov had two. He was the only driver so far this season to have nabbed more than one. And then Ferguson was the only other one that had a win so far here in the GT3 Pros. It was that closely contested all season long that nobody seemed able to really be able to repeat victories except for Carl.
Yeah, exactly. And it really goes to show just the strength of the field here in this GT3 Pro Championship. Very, very tough across the board. Everybody taking wins here and there. And, you know, we haven't really gotten to talk about it too much, but it's also a testament to iRacing's ability to model all of these GT3 cars that you saw on track. Remember when we were at some of the higher elevation circuits like Interlagos, how we saw those BMWs just streak away as courtesy of those turbochargers, whereas you saw the Lamborghini really be able to stretch its legs out at Homestead. Just some great parity across the field, and it has made for a fantastic season.
And we've seen a variety of cars win, too. On top of it, Lowendick with a win in the Porsche. Modov, 2 wins in the Porsche himself. Ferguson, actually, I have to check and see what car he ran with. But, oh, excuse me, I was off on one stat. Alexander Davidson did take a 2 wins himself, so it was more than Modov getting multiple wins out here. As we come on to the penultimate lap now for our final race of the season. And I know we might sound a little laissez-faire about things, but as we said, the battles have dissipated, and from here it is more about the drivers being able to keep from making mistakes on the track as to whether the championship finishes as it sits. So it's sort of a nail-biter for everybody involved, just praying and crossing fingers that nobody has an oopsie over the mountain.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much what they've got to do at this point. All battles found out of effective draft range in these GT3 machines. So it is really and truly just a matter of beating the mountain just for a couple more times.
A win here has got to be pretty special for drivers, even in the virtual worlds. And especially for a series such as this, the GT3 Pro Series, we're just extolling how steep the competition is here. So to take a win in this group with the level of I rating that everybody has, I mean, I'm looking at it here and I'm pretty certain this has got to be something like a 3 to 4K average I rating for this race, because even the top 5 are all 5K and above.
Yeah, it's a pretty crazy amount of talent in this field, Joe. There are absolutely no slouches at all. No matter what position you are running in, you're going to find a good battle, and you're going to find drivers who just know their stuff.
Bouchard comes out of the chase. He'll get the white flag this time by. After stepping away from the GT3 Pro Series for a couple races here in the latter half, I think that's done him such good, because he's certainly looked on it since the green flag waved here today. And as he comes into Hell Corner for the last time, he's got a handy 5.5 gap second. A 5.5 second gap rather behind him, going Murray there for a moment as he climbs the mountain straight once again. As long as he is able to keep it within the walls and not put some damage on the car, this race is his to lose.
Indeed it is, Joe. Just got to be nice and calm here. Nice and fixated. One more time up the hill through the cutting. One more time down the hill through the skyline and the dipper. He's taking everything nice and together.
So Bouchard, I'd love to see his camera to see what he's feeling right now. Is he nervous? Is he focused? Does he seem relieved potentially? There he is on screen now. We saw him expecting quite a bit of himself with not a major mistake that we could see, and he still was cursing himself for making that as he comes down into Forest Elbow. Steers it into the corner and then down onto Conrad. It does look like a sense of relief to me. Yeah, he looks very relaxed right now, knowing he just has 2 more braking events to go.
Yeah, exactly, and they are not the trickiest ones on the track. A little bit more of what you can see to something out like Road America rather than Bathurst itself. So that BMW pilot brings it down into the chase for one last time. He's nice and easy through there.
Coming out of the chase and into Murray's corner. He's only had 2 top 5s, but make this a 3rd one and make it a win for the 773 as Bouchard takes the victory here in Australia.
Taking a little bit of a drink of water there behind him. Levesque able to come home second, and crucially for the season, Rodrigo Mies comes home in 3rd place. That will be enough to secure him the championship here in 2021 Season 4.
Modoff with a 4th, but still tied on most wins this season. It's been a decent one for him. And we saw 10 drivers take the checkered flag today, or we'll see 10 drivers, because as we see a little bit of burning it down from the 88, knowing he's got that championship in his pocket. Lowendick, by the way, looks like he is going to wind up with that top 10. Way to go, Teddy, plugging away. We're going to let them all celebrate. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so stick around.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in endorsed series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Mount Panorama Circuit. We just watched the season finale of the GT3 Pro Series, and up at the front of the field, Phil Bouchard took the win, and it was Guillaume Levesque who finished second, but Rodrigo Mies, who takes the podium today, also takes the championship by doing so. Carl Modoff was behind him on the road, finishing 4th with Lasherite in P5. Diego Morales had a fantastic climb, failing to set a qualifying time. He went from 16th to 6th. J.R. Williams was 7th, and Arnaud Genet was P8. It was Alessandro Torchio quietly bringing himself home in 9th, and Teddy Lowendick making sure he kept it clean and finished in 10th.
From there, we had drivers who were unable to finish the race, including Hugo Gallo, championship hopeful Nick Lutke, Jeffrey Ooms, Michael Davies, Christian Raditz, Horatio Calquin, James David, and Andrew Caron.
What a finish to the season, both for the MX-5s and here for the GT3s, and for it to have multiple drivers involved in both chases, I think really tells you everything you need to know about how they've paired up the skill levels in the series this season. Looks like we've got second place finisher Guillaume Levesque. I think he might have even wound up second in the points in the end. Oh, and we've got our winner first, Phil Bouchard, joining us. So as Phil hops in here, Phil, congratulations. Now, it looked like you had everything under control from what we could see with the car, but we were watching your camera at times, and there were times that you were kind of shaking your head at yourself. What was going on that you didn't like at certain points?
Well, I guess it's the same for pretty much everybody. When you just know that you lose time, you're kind of like, oh, this could have been better. So I was just trying to control the cars, make sure the tires were good, and sometimes I was just like missing around some corners. So that's why. But obviously, like the pace was clearly amazing tonight, and I'm really proud of this. Yeah.
I haven't seen you around much in the latter half of the season. Last time you were here was round 5 for Interlagos. What kept you away, and did that break actually help you? Because, man, you were on perfect form out there.
Honestly, I don't know. I had like very lots of job coming out, so couldn't really attend those races. But now, like, was the last one. It was Bathurst. So I say, you know what? I'm just gonna do it for fun. Actually, I didn't practice that much, so I've no clue like how this happened. Honestly, I have no clue at all.
Well, I'd say whatever you did, do some more of that during the break. And will you be coming back for a 2021-22 season 1 for these GT3 pros?
We'll have to see. We have lots of events in 2022, so we'll have to see the schedule and make sure if we can or not. But for now, I can say.
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye out for you regardless. Is there anybody you want to thank for today's win?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my team, ASRX Able Esports. Always fun to race with the guys, especially like Guillaume, Andrew, and Antoine that raced today. So yeah, just big thanks to these guys. It's I guess that's how we got here. We just practice a lot together, and we get some wins and get some good races.
Absolutely. Well, that was our winner, the 773 of Phil Bouchard, taking home the victory in his BMW. And up next, DJ's caught up with second place finisher Guillaume Levesque.
Hello. I have indeed, Guillaume, a second place finish out there today. I believe that puts you in second overall, potentially in the championship. So very close to Rodrigo, but talk me through your emotions right now.
Yes, I was trying to keep the pace with Phil and hope for Carl and Antoine to pass Rodrigo, and after that we would have a swap around me and Phil for the points and try to have the win on the champ. But I have to congrats Rodrigo for his championship. He was amazing all the season, really consistent and everything. So yeah, I tried my best.
Well, you actually answered one of the questions I was going to ask of you, is if there was any chatter between you and Phil about swapping back and forth. But I guess the good takeaway from all of this is ASR Able Esports, you guys are team champions out here, so that's got to feel pretty darn good.
Yeah, we will. We had this. We had this in mind at the start of the season. We want the champ in team, so we had it behind. So we are really happy with that.
Well, good. And obviously this closes the books on another season of the PRL. We've got a couple of weeks off, but are we going to see you back for 2022 season 1?
I'll have to see, because we have a lot of stuff coming. So we have the SCO, and we might have the Porsche Canada Sprint Challenge will normally come back. So I'll have to look at that.
Well, we hope the schedule works out for you, man. We'd love to see you back in. But anybody you want to thank for this second place run today, a great season, and the team's championship?
Yeah, for sure. I want to thank Advanced SimRacing for all the support, Team Able. I want to thank to CarQuest, Budweiser, and Guru for all the support that we have. And for sure, I want to thank all my teammates work with me all this season. And I want to thank you guys for the good broadcast that you give to us every week.
Well, we are always happy to put on a good broadcast, but thank you so much, Guillaume. That was your second place finisher here today and second in the Drivers' Championship, Guillaume Levesque. And now, Joe, I believe you've caught up with our champion on this season, Rodrigo Mies.
Indeed, with a third place, he clinches here today. Rodrigo, congratulations. By our math, unofficially, you are the champion, doing it without any wins. How are you feeling today? Is this a sense of relief that it's over?
Yeah, hello guys. Very, very happy with the result. I couldn't be more happy than I am. Yeah, it was a very stressful race, so to see the checker flag in P3 was very, very nice. So very happy with the result and amazed by the championship. Amazing level of the whole season. So very, very happy again with the result and the championship. It's my third championship here on PRL. So I think that demonstrates that constancy is everything on the simulator.
It absolutely is, especially in this championship with the talent that's around you. Coming into this race, did you have the math worked out on where you needed to finish in regards to the other drivers, or did you put that aside and said, I'm just going to drive?
Yeah, I kind of saw the maths like 2 days ago. I knew that if Guillaume or Antoine had the win, I must be in fourth position. But yesterday and today, I just focus on give everything and the 110% of my skills. Just focus on the drive. So I think that worked. So very happy with that.
Well, we are getting ready, of course, to restart the season and kick off 2022 in just a couple weeks' time. Will you be back to defend your crown? And when you come back, do you think you can manage to get a win this time?
Yeah, if I look my 3 championships, I had 1 championship on the GTE series, another on the LMP2, and now I have the GT3. So I'm kind of looking for the GT3 Cup series, so I like to change cars always, and or maybe a Formula series. I don't know. I just know that when every road series is over, I will go to the oval. So that is, guys.
All right. Well, we've already seen Abner Acosta make that switch quite successfully. So we love to see drivers dip their toes onto both sides of those disciplines. Congratulations on the podium and the championship. But is there anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, I want to thank a lot of people. First, let me start to say thanks to my mom that was always watching me. She came to celebrate here when I crossed the line. I want to say thanks to my team too, .cl, to all the sponsors, to my boss Horacio Calquin. I want to say thanks to my friends, to Fer, to Nelo, and all the guys that supports me as always. And thanks to you guys for the broadcasting. It's really an amazing work.
Well, thank you so much for the kind words. That was our third place finisher and champion here in the GT3 Pro Series, Rodrigo Mies. That's going to wrap us up for tonight, and we want to give a big thank you to the sponsors as well, including ASR. They design and build the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com, as well as RaceLab. It helps you to improve your driving skills. Start using it now for free at RaceLab.app. And ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing at thebuttkicker.com. Also, SIMMSA. Find out how you can bridge the gap between virtual and real motorsports at SIMMSA.net. And finally, NinjaTrader. Visit ninjatrader.com and get started with a risk-free trading simulator to start tracking your performance. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed on your screen. And additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check out her Bandcamp for more awesome work. Thanks to the team today, DJ, Zach, and Dougie. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media listed here. Please check out our merchandise store at simracingmerch.com/GSRC. We keep a link in the description below for that. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment. We will be back, and that will be Monday, December 20th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Track to be decided. We'll keep you abreast on that once we know. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out. Mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.